Hey everyone, welcome back to the Redlands Rundown, your official podcast of Redlands Community College, where we're committed to helping our students find success at college, in their career, and with everything in between. I'm very excited about today's episode. With me, I have Dr. Marr, the president of Redlands Community College. It's great to have you on, Dr. Marr.
Thank you for having me.
So before we dive into some of the questions that we have, I want our listeners to get to know a little more about you. So can you just tell us a bit about your background and how you came to pursue a career in higher education?
Sure. So I started in higher ed about 30 years ago. That sounds like so far along. But I started in the business side of the house and worked my way up through the operations of the college. I believe higher ed is a true calling. Your college education is something that no one can ever take away from you, which is why I got involved in higher ed, and it's been a lifelong calling of mine.
Okay, awesome. I want you to tell us a little bit. So you've been at Redlands since 2013, am I correct? Yeah. So tell us about some of the different roles that you've held while you've been at Redlands and how those experiences have shaped where you're at today.
So I came to Redlands in 2013 as the VP of Finance. And then so that oversees all of the finances for the college. And then in 2017, I was promoted to the Executive Vice President and Chief of Staff. And basically, I was still the chief financial officer, but I also started doing all things operational on the operations side of the house. So compliance, all of those sort of things. And then we worked it up into learning about the academic side of the house. Our academic VP during that time was very ill, and so I was able to help on the academic side as well.
Okay. I'm sure that's very helpful, having an understanding of all different moving parts.
You have to know all different sides, both operations, HR, payroll, and then you got to move to the academic side. And I was able to learn a lot during that time.
Yeah, that's great. So my final question, we're talking about your background. Will you talk about any mentors or influencers that you had that helped shape your experiences?
So I think all aspects of my career, I've had mentors, whether it was a supervisor, a vice president, colleagues of mine. But I would say most recently it would have been President Emeritus Jack Bryant was a very big mentor of mine. He saw potential in me when I didn't have all of the hope in myself. And so he encouraged me to get my doctorate and finish my doctorate in hopes that when he retired, I would be becoming president. And so that all worked out. But mentors are people, big or small, regardless of what their title is. I think we can all have a mentor regardless of what phase we are in our life.
Yeah, and it's great to have someone, like you said, when you're a little uncertain of yourself, who really believes in you to help push you over that hump.
Right,
so
absolutely.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that. So before we move on, tell us about a time, if you think back on your time at Redlands, is there any favorite events or traditions that we've had during your time here?
So we have lots of fun things that we do at Redlands, but I think two that stand out to me the most would be our annual freshman orientation that we have when we get to see all of the new students. Their parents come to campus with them, and you can just feel the excitement in the room. And so I love freshman orientation. And then, of course, graduation is always my favorite day. We get to help the students and their families celebrate all of their hard work. And so I think getting to celebrate with our students is what makes our job worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think freshman orientation is one of my favorite times of the year, where we're coming back from a slow summer, and I'm very excited to have all the students back and bring some energy back on campus.
It's very exciting. I mean, it was standing room only in the conference center this year.
Yeah.
So that was super exciting to walk in and be able to give the welcome and just see all the excitement in the room.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so our next segment, I want to talk a little bit about your leadership, what that means to you, and how that affects our college. So actually at fall in service, you shared with all of the staff and faculty kind of our motto for the year, which was lead by example. And I love that. And that's something that I've heard a lot of times in different settings. And so I want you to expand a little bit on what that means to you and your philosophy on leadership.
So I think leading by example, we've all heard that. You hear it all the time. But the reason I wanted that to be our theme for the year is that to truly do it, to truly act those things out, regardless if we're in the classroom or we're just walking a student to the class because they didn't know where they were going. Leading by example can be many things. I mean, it's simply picking up trash, turning the lights off, little things like that. And I think that we all sometimes get in our busy daily lives, and sometimes maybe we forget to do that. And so I rolled that out to the campus this year. It's about integrity, action, and impact. And so to me, leading by example is also never asking anybody to do something that I wouldn't do. And I think also going right along with that is I am a firm believer in having an open door policy. And so I don't care what your position is on campus. I don't care if you're a student. It doesn't matter. I want people to be able to come to the president's office, and I listen. Obviously, if it's a heated topic, I listen. I don't form an opinion until I've done an investigation and seen all the things that go with that. But I think those are all things wrapped up with leading by example.
Yeah, and I think for me as an employee and a previous student, I think that really helps with not only our employee or faculty and staff sense of belonging and purpose, but also, our students feeling like they can come to our administration and talk to you about things that they're experiencing and really know that their opinions and their feedback is valued. So,
right.
Yeah, I love that, that motto that you gave us. And it's been something that I've kept in the back of my head because it is easy sometimes to point down the hallway and be like, well, the classroom's down there to the right, and just walk them down there and have a conversation with that student. And that might be a new relationship that they need.
Right.
So I love that motto that we're trying to put in action this year. Since becoming president, I want you to tell our listeners, what's your biggest and most proud accomplishment that you've had?
Do I have to pick just one?
You don't have to pick just one.
So I think number one, becoming the first female president was a huge accomplishment. I was named the 8th president of Redlands 2 years ago, and being the first female was obviously a big thing for me. But also being able to keep tuition flat for 8 years. So we want to be able to have an affordable education, and we've been able to hold tuition flat for 8 years. Another big one is that we have had 8 consecutive semesters of enrollment increases. And one of those, which would have been last spring, I believe, Redlands was the highest in the whole state of Oklahoma for our enrollment.
Yeah.
Our enrollment jump, let me say that. And so I was really proud about that. Another big accomplishment that we have done is I started the President's Student Leadership Academy. And so we're in our 2nd year of that. We've been able to really get some great quality students in there. We actually went yesterday to the ropes course in Chickasha, and that was a great team building exercise. And then just all of the new partnerships and articulation agreements and that we've been providing for our students and the community. I think all of those things I'm pretty proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. The stats for the fall enrollment increase, I shared them with the regents yesterday on a meeting.
Yes.
It's what,
10.3% for the fall, yes.
And returning students
was like 30%.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
That number absolutely blew me away. So it's great to see that continuing to tick up.
So I think we're doing something right when they come back.
I think so.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to transition a little bit and talk about our student perspective. At the heart of everything at Redlands is our student experience. And I want to talk about what makes Redlands unique in that aspect. So tell us a little bit about what you think sets Redlands apart from other colleges.
So first and foremost, I think affordability. Students are able to come to Redlands, get an affordable education that's still quality. And then they can transfer those credits to a 4-year institution, or maybe they just want to get their associates and start in the workforce. So affordability is huge. Redlands is also a place where faculty and staff know the students by name. We're small enough that we encourage the students to get involved. We want to meet our students. We want to get involved to help them succeed. I call those wraparound services. We're not necessarily here to be their mom, but we want to be able for students to come to us if they're struggling to help them. Mm-hmm. And I think you don't always see that at great big universities, and Redlands prides ourselves on being a family environment where students feel like they're part of the family, and we can take care of them that way too.
Yeah. So on an average class size, for those that might not be familiar, do you know kind of what that average looks like?
So we are about one faculty member to 23 students roughly. Obviously, some classes may only have 10 students in them. My leadership class this semester, I have 10 students. And so we are really able to have a lot of interactive classroom activities. This is the second semester that I've taught that leadership class, so I'm hoping that it continues to grow. And then some of our online classes obviously have more students, but our faculty to student ratio is about 1 to 23.
Okay. So also talking about our students, and you touched on this a little bit about some of our students that are coming here, and we do have a lot that want to transfer on, but we have degrees that are, designed for our students to enter the workforce. How do we at Redlands prepare them? How do you see us preparing our students to enter the workforce and be, valuable employees?
So I think hands-on learning is vital. Obviously, we have a huge ag department. Our artificial insemination lab is hands-on, our plant science, our animal science. All of those things are where students can actually go out in the field and actually do those activities. Our nursing department is another huge one. We know that there is a huge need in Oklahoma for more nurses, and we're doing everything we can to get those nurses out in the field. Criminal justice is another one where our criminal justice graduates can take their associate's degrees and get directly into whatever field that they're wanting to start on. We also have our drone technology program, which is hands-on learning. There's all kinds of jobs out there for drone technology. And so we're doing everything we can to get students where they need to be to get into the workforce.
Yeah, I think it's great to see that blend of we have all of those, general education classes where we're setting you up to transfer, but we also have these opportunities for hands-on learning and gaining these skills that we know make you very employable at graduation.
And the micro-credentials, I know you've worked on a lot of those. We have had businesses and industry come to us, and they want us to develop various micro-credentials, and those are much more fast-track learning platforms that students can do, that they can add to their resume and get a job in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. So my final question is, we're talking about students and their experience here. I want you to reflect back on your own college experience. Share, if you're comfortable, a challenge that you face that students today might relate to, and then any advice that you might give those students.
So obviously, when you start out in college, most people are very nervous. Their anxiety is high. For me, I was young, but I was a little bit non-traditional because I was married and had a child when I started college. And I had a full-time job. I was actually working at the college where I was getting my bachelor's degree. And so juggling being a mom, being a wife, and you still want to be able to go home and enjoy family time, but you're also juggling your studies. And I think one thing that I probably did not take enough advantage of is those services that are provided. Mm-hmm. So regardless if it's tutoring or maybe it's our mental health counselor that we have, Miss Lamb, I think being able to reach out and ask for help when you're struggling, I'm sure I did not do that enough. But students need to be aware that we do have services. If you're struggling, if you're hungry, we have a food pantry. If you've got some major anxiety going on, schedule an appointment with Miss Lamb and go see her. And then we have the new Timely Care where students can benefit from that. So, you need to be able to use those wraparound services like the tutoring and testing center and get help when you need it. And don't wait until it's too far gone to get that grade pulled up. I think we see that a lot, especially as faculty members, where students wait until they're so far into the semester and now they've got an F and they're going to their instructor saying, "What can I do to get help?" Yeah. I think we see that a lot. You've got to reach out for help before you let it get that bad. Yeah. Regardless of what that looks like for you, just know when to get help.
Yeah. Sydney and I actually talked a little bit about that on our last episode that just came out. When this comes out, it'll be 2 weeks ago. Just about don't wait until it's a couple weeks before finals to come in. I know that can feel kind of vulnerable for our students to come in if it's, they feel like, I'm just not smart enough to understand this concept. And so that can be a little bit of like anxiety provoking in itself. But I promise, as a past student, there was several times I went to math professors and science professors. I went to the tutoring center very regularly, and there is no judgment. Truly, everybody here is happy to help our students succeed, and we want our students to succeed.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Okay, so let's transition a little bit. I want to talk about Redlands' involvement in our community and some of the partnerships that we have. And I think that's something that stands out about the college is the strong connection that we have in this tight-knit community. We really our high school is 4 or 5A, but it still feels like a small town. That's one thing I love about El Reno, in our community here. So I want you to talk about some partnerships or initiatives that the school has that you feel like have been very impactful.
Right. So I'm really proud of the new partnerships that we've developed. We've got several new ones going on. We have several employees at Redlands that are on various boards in the community and the state. One of our employees is the president of the local chamber of commerce. The local chamber does lots of stuff for Redlands and the community. I serve on several boards. We are very big in the workforce and economic development boards. I know you serve on several boards as well. I am also very active. I'm on the board for the Integris Canadian Valley Hospital. And so getting out in the community and getting Redlands engaged with what's happening, not just in El Reno, but all of Canadian County and the state of Oklahoma. We've had lots of new partnerships. You worked on the new CL Boyd partnership, and we're very proud of that. Students can get hands-on learning, and CL Boyd is doing scholarships with that. And so that is amazing. We have several internships where students can work out at Fort Reno for the USDA, and those are always great partnerships as well. The Workforce and Economic Development Council, I know, is a very big one going on, and we are all about getting more students in the workforce in the pipeline to get those jobs that they seek. And so we also have great partnerships with our four-year universities. Those articulation agreements where students can transfer their Redlands credits and go directly to a four-year are huge. We've signed several new ones of those in the last couple of years. And just our local community engagement. We try to sponsor as many things as we can to be active in the community.
Yeah, one of my favorite things that we do pretty regularly, is attending the community coffees.
Yes,
and,
absolutely.
We have our El Reno one once a month, and then we can go to the Yukon.
Right.
There's several different ones in the county that we can attend, but just that opportunity to talk with employers, hear about what's going on in their world.
Yeah.
How can we better serve them? How can we prepare our students to be employees of theirs? What do we need to change? What are we doing right? And, we have a lot of different committees for our different majors and degrees that come in and share feedback about what we're doing right now, what we need to change. And so I love how involved we try to be with all of our local employers and doing the best for them.
The community coffees, I think, are a huge benefit because we are able to network with business leaders in the community. It's amazing some of the conversations that I have had at those coffees that have turned into partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are always great events to take place as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. So we've talked a lot about the past and some things that are currently going on at Redlands. I want to take some time to look forward a little bit more now at the future of Redlands. So tell us a little bit about what might be on the horizon for Redlands that you are most excited about.
So we have one of the big projects that we are going to be launching here shortly is the Goals for Greatness academic complex. And so we've already purchased the land to the west of campus. We will be launching a capital campaign, and what that will involve is a soccer field. It will have a track on it, and it will also help with not only student engagement and our soccer team. Our women's soccer team will have their games there. My eventual goal is to start a men's soccer team as well, and so they will have their games there. We could also have, we are in partnership with El Reno Public Schools, and so when we get the track built, the public schools do not have a track here locally, and so we will partner with them where they can host track meets here. Track and field may be a sport that we want to start at Redlands as well.
For sure. I actually got that question the other day if we had a track team.
Yes. So we will be, as soon as we can get the money raised to get that project done and off the ground. The plans are already built. We've got the diagrams that show all of the fun things that will be happening. So that's a big project. Another big project is we want to start some new academic programs. And so we're looking at what's the best fit for our part. What can we do? We want to create programs that students want to have that will help them in the workforce, and what is the demand. And so we're going to be having those conversations about what are some new degree programs that we can start.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I'm super excited about the soccer field and the track too, and that's a great way to, help out our community. And also something that Dr. Clint Rusk always said when I was at Oklahoma State was the more times that we can have students on campus, the more likely they are to come here after they graduate. And so I feel like that kind of resonates too with if we can have people in our community on campus, even if it's not for a formal recruiting event.
Right.
I think that increases the awareness of the college and the opportunities that really they have in their backyard.
Absolutely.
That are fantastic. So that's very exciting. I feel like that kind of hinted towards this a little bit, my next question, but if you imagine Redlands 5-10 years down the road, what do you hope that looks like for the college?
So I want to see us continue to grow, but with growing, we need to have those additional opportunities for students. I want Redlands to be the place that students, when they're in high school, they say, you know what, I want to go look at Redlands. I've heard great things about various programs out at Redlands. I also, when you think about looking into the future, and we all, when you have worked or you've been involved with a community college, you hear this negative talk, especially students that are coming out of big high schools. They're like, why would I want to go to a 2-year school? They don't have the things that the universities offer. And I think a lot of that is false. I mean, we may not be as big as some of the 4 years, but we have lots of clubs and organizations that students can get involved in. And we're also, it's going to save you and your family a ton of money if you will start at Redlands.
Yeah.
And then you take those credits to that 4 year, and you will have your degree that much quicker, and it was a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And so I think that false narrative, it's been around for a long time about the 2-year schools, but I want to be able to say in 5 years that we have toned that down a lot, and we're not hearing that negative talk like we used to. I think you've got 12 2-year schools in Oklahoma, and all of us have unique things that we are doing on our campus, and they are a great place to start versus paying that higher tuition at a 4-year.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that kind of stigma and negative talk, I didn't grow up as an Oklahoma native. I grew up in South Central Iowa, but we had a little community college. We did all of our concurrent classes doing kind of same thing. If you were gonna go there after graduation, it was kind of like, it wasn't as big of a, and after coming here and then transferring on, I loved my time at Oklahoma State, but I would say I am much more prideful to be a Redlands Cougar and a Redlands alum. And I feel like that's been the case for a lot of our students that have come to Redlands, transferred on. And a lot of times after they transfer, they'll come back to us and say, man, we just want to come back and stay here. And, we do have awesome opportunities. And I visited with Sydney about this a little bit, I think on our last episode, but I did research for a master's degree. I didn't have any experience with, designing a project, and actually our NASA-funded research program that we have here that I did as a student was the only prior experience I had before my master's program. And that really set me up to be a little more successful in my graduate program. And so, the clubs, the research opportunities, there's the student government. I know that that's something that we're working to bring back and make more active here. There's so much opportunity here. And like you said, I think that gets overlooked sometimes.
Yeah. And I think the more that we can offer our students, I think we will see Redlands continue to grow. And I want Redlands to be a place where people want to come. When you talk about various degree programs, I want people to be able to go, well, Redlands has that program. We should go tour them. And I think we are getting there. That goes to show by the last 8 semesters of enrollment increases. But looking long term, I think we all need to be making sure that message is getting out there, that there are things here that students want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Okay, so before we wrap up, I want to go over just a couple final points. So can you share with students, alumni, community members, how can they best support our mission and what we're doing at Redlands?
So I think the first thing would be helping us get that word out about the benefit of Redlands Community College. I think attending events, whether it's a sporting event, whether it's an event that we're having on campus, come be a part of what we're doing. Show our students that they are supportive, I think is a huge one. And obviously, we're going to be launching a capital campaign. And if people want to help get this vision off the ground, obviously they could donate to that. We have multiple scholarship opportunities. Our students benefit very much from our foundation. And so if people want to get engaged, they're able to donate to that. And it's not just financial. Maybe you just want to volunteer to do something on campus, or you want to come up here and tour and see what we're all about. We love having guests on campus. And so just being involved and being engaged, I think all of those things would help us.
Yeah, absolutely. And when this episode comes out, we'll be about a month out from our Fall Family Festival. Will you talk a little bit about that?
So one of my big dreams since becoming president, it's a little bit memories from when I was a child, but we had, when I was growing up out in the panhandle of Oklahoma, we had a huge fall festival at our elementary school. And some of my favorite memories was the cakewalk, and where the music is going and you got to get a chair and you win a cake or whatever. So I pitched this idea to some of our staff about having a fall festival out at our beautiful Darlington campus. Mm-hmm. And so we are actually, that is coming to life, and we're going to have an event on October 28th from 4 to 7. And we're really excited about it. It's open to the public. We're going to have all kinds of things, face painting. We're going to have inflatables. We're going to be selling pumpkins and mums and all different kinds of things. And there will be a cakewalk. And so really excited about all of those things. We'll have hay rides and a petting zoo. And so we would like to get the word out about that and the good things happening.
Yeah, and we're also going to have a table for Redlands if you have, your kids are getting close to graduating, right, or maybe you went to school, stopped out, you're thinking about coming back, or you've never went. We'd be happy to talk with you. And we're also going to have some county resources there as well, attending to visit with our families that might need those. So
I think you brought up a good point that I didn't touch on, and that was our adult learners. And so all of these wraparound services, I know as a working adult, maybe you're 40, 50 years old, maybe you've had those credits and life happens and you didn't get to complete those credits. We do have funding where we can help with getting you back in the classroom. And I know it can be overwhelming, but you're never too old to get that college education. I love to tell people my husband just graduated from Redlands and he was 48 years old. And so you're never too old to get that education. It will be something you can carry with you forever. And our adult learners, I know that they can feel overwhelmed because maybe they're in a classroom with a bunch of 18 and 19-year-old students, and sometimes they feel like the odd man out. But we have lots of adult learners here at Redlands and lots of resources to help them as well.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to mention earlier when you were talking about your experience and juggling your life and family and work. I feel like a lot of our students resonate with that. Even if they are young and right out of high school, we have a lot of students that are balancing either being on a competitive team, they're working part-time to help cover, their expenses. And so that's one thing I feel like we pride ourselves on at Redlands is our flexibility and our willingness to work with our students. We want everything to work out for them. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm glad that you elaborated on that. So final question, is there anything else that you want our listeners to know before we wrap up today?
I would simply say that Redlands has opportunities. Regardless if you're a student, we have opportunities for our employees, for the community. We are an open access institution, and so people can come here. Maybe they don't have a 25 ACT. That's okay. You can come to Redlands. We're going to help you get there. Obviously, you've got to put forth some effort. We're not just going to give you those grades. We want students to work for it, but we can help you get there. The opportunities are endless.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us today, Dr. Marr. We really enjoyed having you and having you share your story and your vision for the future of Redlands.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to subscribe for future episodes where we cover different topics. We'll talk with students, faculty, staff, and some community partners. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
See ya.